How Geometry Dash teaches its mechanics. Now, this is a video. People have been recommending GD Cologne to me for quite some time. They say that this is one of the top Geometry Dash creators. I think he even just won an award. Is that right, chat? I have never watched a GD Cologne video, as you can tell, because obviously if I watched a creator of such caliber, I would have subscribed already, and I haven't done that yet. I think this is just going to be about the progression of learning Geometry Dash as a player, which honestly, if I had to answer this question in my own words before watching the video, I would guess that the way Geometry Dash teaches its mechanics is the same that any game in the course of history does. It takes something that the player has not yet experienced, it gives it to the player, and then through the course of trial and error, the player learns how to overcome that new obstacle. But that answer isn't an entertaining video, so let's watch the video. GD Cologne probably has a much more compelling answer than my boring literal one.
When the second sneak peek for Geometry Dash 2.2 released, the initial response from the community was surprisingly negative. People complained that it didn't show enough new features, or was too short, or didn't sync. And
was this the one with Dash, chat?
An overwhelming amount of people said that the level just wasn't good. It was unbalanced, or unreadable, or overall poorly put together. And personally, I walked away thinking one thing in particular. Why is it so gimmicky? The level is filled with all these new mechanics and ideas that have never been seen before, and watching the video—
Dash has its own vid? No, I'm saying, was this the update? Was this the update that had freaking the level in it? It had Dash as a level.
I just felt overwhelmed by it all.
Because this looks like all the set decoration that was in Dash. I'll say I was not a big fan of Dash.
As if the level was trying to show off every new feature added to 2.2 instead of only using what fits. A common response—
I agree, it seemed super gimmicky. I didn't like all the visuals and stuff. I like the core gameplay of Geometry Dash. I don't like all these distracting visuals and camera movements and stuff. I think it's a little too much sauce on an already tasty taco.
Response I've been hearing is that plenty of existing official levels have the same problem. Deadlocked has an infamous ship part that's all memory. Geometrical Dominator has some questionable usage of moving objects. And this really got me thinking, what do you learn from playing Geometry Dash? Like, if you were to play all the—
Chat, what is Explorers? Y'all keep talking about Explorers like I know what it is. Explorers is— wow, it's almost like Halab had negative input lag on that. Explorers is Dash as a medium demon pretty much? Okay. Is that going to be in 2.3?
The official levels in order with no prior experience and no custom levels? Would that alone be enough for you to understand how all these crazy new mechanics work? Well, you know what? I've got nothing better to do, so let's find out. In this video, we're going to go through each level of the—
Out. Is GD Cologne Canadian? Out. Out. It sounds a little Canadian.
Game and break apart what it introduces and what the average player will take away from it. Then at the end, we'll revisit the 2.2 levels and see what we think. Starting off—
wait, this is already really fun. I get, like, this is a really satisfying video to watch. It just like unfurls. I was right. Y'all think that I don't know stuff, but I know some of it sometimes.
With Stereo Madness. Pretty much every new player starts here, whether you're a 10-year-old that begged your mom to type in the iPad password so that—
I started here, but my very next level was Bloodbath, got 2% on it. Ching.
You could play Geometry Dash Lite, or someone older that was just scrolling through Steam. This is the first level of the game, so chances are if you hand it to a new player, this is where they'll start.
Bro, what the hell are you doing?
Stereo Madness starts with lots of empty space, followed by a single spike. Most new players should be able to make it over the spike with no problem, but what they don't realize is that it's there to give them a feel for the game's physics and jump height.
Dude, you think I don't realize that? Like, this is what I try to say, chat. It's like every single thing, like the best kinds of games, nothing is there just to be there. Everything is there for a reason. Sometimes things are there for a reason by accident, because we've seen that before. Sometimes people make a really good game and they aren't able to recapture the lightning in the bottle, but it's because they did so many great intuitive things by accident that makes the way the game unfolds just good for the player, good in terms of story, good in terms of just like mechanics and learning them. It's just like, that's why it's like Bob Ross, happy accidents. But some people are just that based. Some people are just that meticulous where they can just like 100% calculate every single thing in their game and like they were completely aware of it. I would argue most people are not 100% aware of every single thing that makes their creation good. They're probably aware of like a good portion of it, but I think a lot of what makes things good and compelling are immeasurable aspects that people try in hindsight to try and put names and definitions to. My opinion, but I'm super artsy fartsy.
Jumping over that first spike, they now know how high and quickly
Rob Top nailed the first spike on God, whether intentionally or by accident.
the player jumps, and that knowledge will subconsciously help them a lot with the timing of the second set of spikes, which is a little bit tighter. Next up are some back-to-back jumps on platforms where most players will learn that they can hold down to keep jumping, if they didn't already.
Most players. I did not learn about the whole hold down tech until, was it Can't Let Go Chat? There was one level where early on you literally have to do holds, otherwise you're trolling yourself with like super precise inputs. I was not holding for the first several levels. It just didn't make sense.
Figure it out. You can either jump or fall off this last platform, which is a freedom that's definitely taken away in later levels. From there, the level mixes different combinations of blocks and spikes to help you get a better feel for when and when not to jump. It might take a few tries, but once you have that figured out, you're ready for the first ship section.
My dad didn't know you could hold until Polargeist. That sooner than me.
And get this, it's completely empty, which is great because you're given a safe open area to fly around and get a feel for the new controls and
this is a very good point. Yeah, the first time you're in a ship, it's like, hey, just bounce around on it, bro. Hit the ceiling, hit the floor. Don't need to talk about that no more.
Gravity. Most players will be lowered towards the ground while they figure things out, which is why the first obstacle shows up.
Dude, can I just say, chat, this is a small thing. I love, please step back, step back. I love the grind animation. Look, some of you might not notice this. I'm a bit of a connoisseur of taste. I love the grind animation when you're on ship and you're grinding against the ground. It's highlighted in the end of Death Moon. When you're kind of in that guitar plays, you're kind of grinding on that ship part. It's almost like you're playing the guitar.
Up all the way on the ceiling.
He loves grinding, I'm saying.
It's very easy to avoid, and is mostly there to serve as a warning that actual obstacles are coming. Next up, you fly between some spikes on the floor and ceiling to show that you actually have to fly and can't rely on either of them. And after that, the level's pretty straightforward. It ramps up in difficulty without introducing anything new, and helps you understand how far you can jump as well as what patterns in the gameplay to look out for. If you're really smart, you might be able to figure out how to get the secret coins, but for the sake of this video, we're going to be ignoring them. Which means that the level ends with a completely normal ship part, which you should be able to do with no problem after all the practice from previous attempts. Good job, you beat the first level of the game. But
yeah, okay, thank you, Dapper, for it. That was bothering me in the back of my head. I think it was dry out. I think it was dry out when I first had to learn to hold.
The kids at school still say that you're bad, so on to level 2. Before Back on Track
this is what I've been saying.
Even starts, most players will probably already know what the yellow pad is for. The last level taught you that you can't jump over 4 spikes in a row, so the only logical conclusion is that the yellow thing helps you pass it in some way. Once you clear the first set of spikes,
this is so interesting. I get why people find appeal in this type of video. I genuinely have never thought this deep about the game. I'm literally just like, I'm playing the game. Oh, that's a new thing. I'm going to hit it. I get the appeal. I just like, I don't know, bro. I'm such a feel player. I appreciate the thought that can be put into it, but dude, I like booting up a level and just kind of smashing my face into it.
There's another jump pad shortly after, but this one is chained to another jump. After that is 3 more pads, but these ones need to be avoided. This is important because it shows that new mechanics can be used against
making everything deep is GD Clone's specialty. Hey, I appreciate another obsessive overthinker.
You just as much as they can help you. So it's important to understand how they work and to stay aware.
I obsess and overthink over other things that are not like usually I just overthink like how the social interaction I had with the grocer at my grocery store last night.
Of your surroundings. And as the level goes
it was awkward.
You'll hopefully develop a feel for the jump pad so that you can tell exactly where they're going to launch you. People tend to sleep on Back on Track, but I really like it because the entire level is centered around one specific game mechanic.
Back on Track low-key is kind of forgettable.
Introduces it in a safe way at the beginning, then scales up the difficulty and plays around with different ways to use it as the level goes on. It's a very traditional way of designing levels, and I'm all for it. Next up
Celeste! Dude, damn, dude. I feel like all true ball knowers know Celeste. Am I crazy? Which, for those of you who don't know, Celeste was the main game I streamed before Geometry Dash took over my whole life.
Polargeist, and similar to the beginning of Back on Track, you can't jump over that. Asterisk. So what's this yellow thing?
Cologne loves Celeste. I love Cologne. Subbed. Be sure to like and subscribe. There's no way y'all are. This video has 7.9 million views. If you somehow found and or clicked on my video without already being subscribed and having liked this video, I think that you might be like an absolute just diamond in the rough. Just like an absolute, like you are a statistical anomaly.
Definitely not a jump pad. Enter the jump ring, or the orb. They're pretty interchangeable, but the help text and game files both say ring, so screw you.
They're officially called rings, bro. And this isn't my fault because I've always been playing this game with chat. Chat's always called them orbs for me. So I can actually all of you right now. Actually, they're called rings. Ever played Sonic? It shows.
I win. Wait, the game files call this a dash ring and a drop ring? Wow. I hate it. I'm just gonna say orb. It's less syllables. Anyways, you might not get how the orb works on your first try, but you'll definitely get it shortly after. If you beat
Does that mean orbit should be called ring it? Ribbit? Ribbit? Like a frog.
the first 2 levels, orbs should be pretty easy to comprehend, although you might not realize that hitting them earlier or later will matter in harder levels.
Yeah,
Just like with pads,
no
the
kidding.
level teaches you that not all orbs should be hit, so make sure you're paying attention.
Fakes.
Once again, Polargeist doesn't just introduce orbs, but the whole level is centered around them. Obviously, there's also
Wave was called dart and UFO was called bird. That actually makes sense that UFO would be called bird because the flappy bird of it all. Dart? What are we talking about?
some pads, but they're not the main focus. Once you're comfortable with
It makes waves. It doesn't make darts. I guess it darts around, but it be waving when it do that.
orbs, it's time to swipe down and turn off auto rotate because next up is dry out. The level starts with some straightforward platforming that's a little harder than the previous levels, but still doable. Surprisingly, there's not a single orb or jump pad in this part. After that is this mysterious new yellow portal, which... uh-oh.
Yes, this part. This is this upside down part. Dude, my chat was so pissed at me when I played this level because they're just like, bro, TJ, just hold. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying right now. I've been playing this game for just a few hours. When you say hold, I don't know what that means. And then my chat was finally just like, instead of pressing for every single jump, you can just hold it down. You can just, but like, basically, it auto jumps for you on some parts. And I was like, how is that supposed to be intuitive to me as a player? What?
If you're a new player, you probably lost your mind when you first saw this. For
On God.
everyone else, this is nothing. So clearly, upside down sections get a lot easier with practice and experience. As intimidating as this part looks, the first few jumps are all very easy, and the rest of it helps you get a much better understanding for which block patterns require a jump and which ones don't. This back-to-back usage of real and fake jumps is something that will show up a lot in future levels, so it's something you'll definitely want to master, especially
You see these holds?
when the gravity's flipped. Anyways, if it wasn't yourself, you probably
Chat, if you keep bringing up rings, yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Onion ring, halab. Y'all are making me hungry.
know someone who flipped their screen upside down during this part, only to realize that moving from right to left is just as confusing. And that's
Yep.
because this part isn't hard. You just have what we call a skill issue. Interestingly enough, this is the only upside down
Take it
section in the
back.
entire level, so even if it's the most memorable part, I wouldn't say the level's built around it. After that, it's pretty smooth sailing. And wait, the entire level only has 2 orbs? And 4 pads if you don't count the coin? How? Fortunately, base after base has plenty of them. Now that you're comfortable with pads, orbs, and gravity changes, base after base mixes them all together and tests your skills so far. It doesn't actually introduce anything new, so there's not much to talk about. Can't Let Go is basically the
Dude, base after base in a nutshell. Not much to talk about. I hard agree.
same story, although it does mix orbs
No hate, no hate, no hate.
and pads with reverse.
It's just a lot of the earlier levels, they become a little unremarkable. You always remember the first level, then you maybe remember around like Can't Let Go. The ones in the in-between, it's so hard, bro. Until I see it on my screen, I'm like, oh yeah, what did that one look like again? Whereas Stereo Madness, I have that thing imprinted in my brain. And I have aphantasia. I don't even have a visual image in my brain. Anyone else in chat have that? Shout out aphantasics.
Gravity for the first time. It also has a really stupid coin with a purple pad that always used to distract me
Yeah,
from
bro,
the
this
main
part's hard.
path. Seriously, why does this exist? Jumper doesn't introduce any new mechanics either, but it does teach something that's just as important. The level focuses on very short upside down sections, which is special because all of the previous ones have been very long and dedicated. Moving forward, you're going to be changing gravity a lot more quickly, so this level helps ease you into that. Oh, and also, did you know that the ship can go upside down too? Well, it's a good thing you have this completely open area in order to get a feel for it.
Dude, upside down ship the first time you play it is just like, dude, it feels like when you're in a dream and your arms just don't work. They just kind of flop around uselessly.
Followed by a slightly harder one, but still mostly open. Time Machine has even shorter upside down sections, which really sets it apart from something more dedicated like the ship. Also, get comfortable with triple spikes, there's gonna be a lot of them.
Dude, freaking
After some
triples.
ramped up difficulty, this level introduces the mirror portal, which gives you plenty of time to react to the camera change,
And we never really see Mirror Portal all that much after it, right, chat? It's weird that I thought Mirror Portal was going to be so much more of a thing in levels, and I hardly see it anymore.
and then from there it's obvious.
In the level, I'm still a noob, but like I don't really see it.
There's also some mirrored ship sections, which are equally as important to
Yeah, because no one likes them. Dap me up.
learn. And finally, the level ends with some constant switching between normal and mirrored, which is good to know because this is an important
Because that was definitely the most confusing part of playing these levels. In my newbie brain, I was like, stop making me read right to left.
mechanic that will appear in a lot of future levels.
It's the most nothing burger portal out there. Yeah, I do agree. It's like, when you could, I could also see from a creator's perspective, it's so much more exciting to be like, ooh, let me make a new wave section. I was just doing a ship section. Let me do a wave section now. Versus, okay, I was just doing a forward cube. Let me do a backwards cube now. Like that in no way sounds appealing. It's like you're writing an essay and then you have to write a paragraph backwards. That would just piss you off.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. Okay, Cycles is mean. It's got a lot of triple spikes and tricks you with
I kind of like Cycles. I feel like I look back at Cycles pretty fondly.
way too many
But that's also just because I love ball. Ball. Love it.
fake orbs. It's definitely good practice for sight reading, but also, why are there so many? Like, chill. Oh, right, also the ball portal. That's probably a big deal. The ball section starts with this large, impassable wall. Both
Doggy sees it as the hardest one. Hey, he'll get it one day.
game modes so far would require some
Probably after he verifies grief, he'll probably be ready for Cycles.
kind of input to get past it, so naturally, click the screen and see what happens. Oh, and this big arrow probably helps. That first click alone should give you a good idea of how the ball works, so after that it's time to throw in some spikes and orbs. Here, you're given no choice but to go into this gravity portal, so it becomes obvious how it works in ball section.
Dude, gravity portals are cool. Also, I had no idea that was what they were called, but since GD Cologne said it, I was able to sound smarter by tacking on, like when you're in, I've talked about this before on stream. It's like when you're in school and the smart kid raises their hand and they make like a really astute thing. And the teacher's just like, yes, very good. And then you raise your hand and they're just like, oh yeah, did you have anything else? And you're just like, yeah, I just wanted to say 100% what Jerry just said. I was thinking the same thing. And the teacher's like, wow, you're kind of smart. And then Jerry's like, wait, they didn't add anything of value. And then the teacher's like, hey, you're being a bit mean right now. Are y'all tracking the metaphor?
Sections, and it leads you right into a jump pad which bounces you up and hopefully shows that it's a little more floaty in this game mode. Hopefully you're familiar with the back and forth gravity changing, cause screw you, now you have to do it in the ship. If you're not used to that, this part might be pretty difficult, but it's mostly straightforward and gets easier with practice. After that's a completely empty section for some reason, and then some more complicated ball gameplay mixed with the mirror portal. By the end of the level, you should be really familiar with the ball and its physics.
Oh, I was very familiar with the ball and the physics after the Cycles, 100%. Yeah.
Takes us to Xstep, and oh my god, there's a new
I don't remember Xstep at all.
visual style. Everything's so wavy now. The level
Sue me.
introduces the blue jump pad, but it does so in a very strange way. Because the first time you interact with them is in this automatic transition into a ship section, where it's not exactly clear how it works, which means that the first time that you properly interact with the pad is in the ship. I'm pretty sure this is the only ship section in the game to have jump pads, and while I think it's a cool gimmick, it really shouldn't be used to introduce a new mechanic. The level wouldn't have been much different if these pads were replaced with spikes, but I kind of admire the decision of making it throw you off instead of insta-killing you on the spot.
That's true. That is, I like the, that's, I'm glad Cologne brought that up. It is cool, like having these bounce pads in a ship part. It does piss you off though.
I just wish the player had a bit more introduction to blue pads first. And also, why is there no coin for exiting this section upside down? It would have been such a good spot. Anyways, following the ship section is a part that's more
I don't know, bro. I don't know coins like that.
tightly focused
That's a bit above my pay grade. I don't go for coins. I'm scared.
around the blue jump pad, but again, it might be a bit much since technically your only experience with it was in the ship. So hitting a blue pad and then immediately skipping a yellow one might be tricky for what's technically the very first proper usage of the pad. That's not to say it's too hard. Again, I just wish it was taught a tiny bit more so that you're more familiar with how it works without practice.
Yeah, it does kind of seem just like out of nowhere. That does make sense. I never really thought about it. It felt weird. I never really put words to it. But you're a smart little what's their character persona? What animal is this? They're a smart fox. You're a smart little fox. Clever fox. There we go.
Later down, the level also teaches the player about the existence of fake blocks by having them fall through the floor into this small section. I remember being super confused by this at first, but with a bit of practice it's easy to wrap your head around, and it'll be really important in future levels as well.
Toby Fox? Yeah, but the rest of the world ain't ready for that conversation.
Finally, all the way at 79%, the level introduces the blue orb. I don't know why it wasn't used earlier, but yeah, this is the first
This is really the first occurrence of a blue orb? Bro, I feel like blue orbs were on stereo madness. That thing's been in my DNA since before I was born.
Occurrence of them. Hopefully the blue pads allowed you to predict how they work, but if not, then you should have enough time to learn and react anyways. The level definitely could have played around with them a little more, but it's not as important of a mechanic as something like the yellow orb, so it's not like it needs an entire level dedicated to it. You learn how it works, and move on. Clutterfunk introduces Saw Blade.
Is every Fox character doomed to make GD content? Well, it's Samifying 1, GD Cologne. Are there any other Fox character content creators for GD that I'm missing?
Which are like
Those are the only two I know.
spikes, if they were circles. They're introduced pretty gracefully, like the first input of the level is just a single
Clutterfunk! This level's fun, bro.
jump over one with nothing extra. There's a bit of fake block usage at the start, so hopefully you remember that from Xstep. That takes us to the introduction of the mini portal, which is done in a very fun way. Despite Mini drastically changing the physics of pretty much every game mode, this section feels just as shrunken down as your icon is. The obstacles are smaller, the jumps are easier, it's overall super easy to adjust to, and I think that this is a brilliant way of introducing a
Clutterfunk. Fun is literally in the name of Clutterfunk, and you've never seen them in the same room, so that's how you know it's true.
surprisingly tricky mechanic. From there, the mini ball part is pretty easy, and the mini ship is a bit more sensitive, but otherwise pretty lenient. And from this point onwards, the switches between mini and normal become really frequent to show that the sections could come in short bursts, just like gravity portals can. The level ends with a final mini section which heavily focuses on the new blue orb. I like to consider this their official introduction since it gets a lot more use out of them. There's a lot of yellow and blue orbs chained back to back.
Yeah, dude, all these fast clicks between orbs, that was, dude, I had never experienced such CPS in my life, bro. That was so hard to get a hang of as a new player. If y'all are struggling on this part of Clutterfunk and you're like a newer player, do not worry. It's messed up. It was created to make you feel bad about yourself. Don't feel bad about yourself. This part is hard. You'll get there. Just hop into practice mode and practice this part. It's weird.
And you need to process which ones to hit and which ones to skip. And then you get this fun part where you fall at the end. Theory of Everything has an infamously
Staircase.
hectic beginning. Less experienced players might be
I don't remember this level.
confused by everything going on here, but they tend to realize that you can survive by just randomly tapping the screen. But we're gonna assume you played the previous 11 levels, so you should hopefully have a clearer understanding of what's going on. It mixes a bunch of mechanics that you've learned while also introducing the purple pad and orb. Unlike Xstep, this is done in a very straightforward and understandable way,
Dude, I don't remember this level.
since hitting it is your only choice anyways. The first ship part branches off into two paths, with the top path being safe and the bottom
Oh, yeah. Okay, I kind of remember this part. I like this. I honestly, well, do I like this? It is like innately memory, but it is kind of fun. I remember this kind of being fun. Like, it's kind of cool to have to find your way, but I could see like a whole level being built around this gimmick being kind of frustrating. Thoughts?
one being not. This is going to be a recurring gimmick in the level, so it's nice that the first occurrence of it was presented in a very basic way. The level
True.
also introduces the UFO game mode, where your initial reaction would probably be to treat it like the ship,
I do remember this. Okay, I do remember this
to
level.
realize that holding does nothing. So naturally, you keep tapping, and from there it's obvious. The very start also lets you safely touch the ground in case you're slow to react, which is a detail that
Dude, that was another thing. I mean, I think I'm stepping on Cologne for a second here. Sorry about that. Sorry for stepping on you. But that was one thing that I did not understand as a new player that I think the game is not very good at teaching you intuitively about when you're in a ship, you can kind of ride on floors, and when you're in UFO, you can kind of ride on floors. That took me a long time to understand. As a new player, I overcomplicated a lot of solves for stuff because I just like and maybe this is because I played so many games, but in my head, in sections like that, it's like boundary equals death. You know what I'm saying? But like, dude, the second you realize you can just kind of ride the floor sometimes, a lot of the gameplay becomes so much easier for those sections.
I really like. There's another Dorabe Choose Way section here, except that now it branches off into 3 paths. Thankfully, the correct one will always be marked with an arrow, because Geometry Dash levels aren't supposed to be about memory. This part has a clever little troll where it repeats the same pattern 3 times, but kills you the 3rd time around. If you fall for this even after beating the previous levels, it means that you really need to brush up on your sight reading. The level continues with some
Shut up!
fake wall shenanigans, a mini UFO section that's easy to grasp, and a few more pick-a-paths, and that's about it. Looking back, it's kind of fun to have a gimmick like this that keeps showing up throughout the level in different ways. Good job, Theory.
Guys, y'all, okay, sorry. I went to acting school. That was a bit. Sorry, I forgot I went to acting school. A lot of you are going to think that that was real. That was a joke. Because the comedy of that was like, he made a very funny quip of like, if you mess this up, you gotta hit the books, kid. And so it was funny if I just got really irrationally angry about it.
Of everything, here's a sticker.
There's my comedy 101 lesson for some of you.
Electroman Adventures introduces some more new visuals and fancy spikes, but more importantly, it introduces the most groundbreaking mechanic yet. The breakable block.
Get it?
The way they're taught is actually pretty clever because first you're forced on top of them like a normal
I feel like I haven't seen breakable blocks, and I think the last time I saw breakable blocks was X. Are breakable blocks used a lot?
block, and then after that you have no choice but to ram through one, and that's about all you need to know. There's even a coin for people who really get it. Oh yeah, secret coins were released in the same update as this level.
Not many people use them. Yeah, I feel like I barely see them.
So going forward, the coin routes have a lot more thought.
And you see explaining the joke is also funny. I think explaining jokes is funny, Jacko Gem 1, but also sometimes, because I realize this from a lot of the comments I get, a lot of people don't understand how dry my humor can be sometimes. It's so dry, it can dry them out. Wink.
Put into them, since these levels are actually built with coins in mind. Either way, I'm still going to focus mostly on the main path. So from the first part alone, you'd kind of expect this level to be centered around these breakable blocks, but surprisingly you never see them again after this. In fact, the sneak peek for the level shows that they were added pretty late in development, so why even bother going back to add them? Just because a feature is added to the game, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be added into an official level. You could argue that it helps teach the player in case they play custom.
What is this? This is like what I imagined if I went inside a cloud. Chat, can you relate to this? I feel like if I could eat a cloud, it would taste good.
Levels, but they don't really use this object either. In game
I know it would probably taste like nothing. It would just dissolve into vapor. Just let me have my freaking dreams.
design, you generally want to have a small palette of gimmicks that you'll use throughout the level, instead of throwing in literally everything at your
Like, I feel like it would be refreshing.
disposal. It would have been nice if there were a few more breakable block sections, because otherwise you sort of wonder what made them important enough for them to be added to the level in the first place. By the way, there's going to be a lot more random complaints like this, so
Why can't it taste like candy floss? We have no proof that it doesn't. It probably does taste like cotton candy. But some people just want to be like, actually, there's a bunch of water in the air. And have you ever put a thing of cotton candy in water? Or have you watched that thing of like, isn't there a clip of this online where an animal, is it like a monkey? They have like a little thing of cotton candy and they put it in the water and it just dissolves immediately. And then we're all like, oh, that was really sad. Anyway, a lot of people are just like, actually, if it was cotton candy, it would dissolve because of the water cycle. And it's just like, cool. Could you just pretend to have a likable personality for 5 seconds?
brace yourselves.
It's a raccoon. Thank you, my username. Yes, yes. And yes, it was a raccoon. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, y'all. It's very heartbreaking. Amethystic got it too.
These things don't ruin the level by any means, they're just decisions that I find a bit strange. With that being said, the rest of the level is all good. It flows nicely, there's some more UFO usage, and the whole thing just goes hard. I wish featured levels still had gameplay like this. Hey, what level comes after this again? Ah, shit. That's right, it's Clubstep, the first demon.
Dude, some people hate Clubstep. And I'm like, why? It's like, it's high-key fun.
Level. It takes everything you know about the game so far and cranks it up to 11 with things like
it's hard. It does crank it up to 11, but I kind of liked it, bro.
precise flying.
Best main level, I think I could see the argument for it. I could definitely see the argument for it. Deadlocked takes the cake for me. And like, if Deadlocked was real, I would kiss it more than once.
Much trickier orb timings. But the level also introduces two absolutely diabolical new elements. Fading blocks and fake spikes, both of which are used to absolutely mess with you.
Dude,
there's so many
Clubstep just so good, bro.
spots where the
I kind of want to go back and play Clubstep.
path forward is
Why are we question
never
marking?
what
What's
it
up?
seems, and you're definitely going to need practice mode if you want any hope of beating this level. This level's like the definition of never let him know your next move.
Dude, like I'm looking back, this level was this was hug top, go bottom. Y'all remember? God, I love Clubstep, dude.
What's even harder is that these two new features can be
And this was like the first true grind in the game. God, my first easy demon. And like, and in post, we can have, they can edit a thought bubble and it goes boop, 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 and then it shows me like crashing out. We're not going to edit that.
used in combination,
But it was a fun little thought experiment that you and I just did together. Isn't it fun sometimes to think together about stuff?
making parts like the ship extremely difficult because it's super hard to tell which spikes will and won't hurt you. So is this a good idea, or does it ruin the level and make it too gimmicky? Find out after these messages. Alright, jokes aside, I think it's perfectly fine. What sets
I agree, Cologne. I think it's perfectly fine. It's a little blah, 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 but it's fun.
What sets this apart from other gimmicks is that the entire level is built around these two new objects. They're used in countless different ways.
Yes, chat, don't forget to hug your top and go bottom.
And they're really explored to their fullest potential. So I really respect Clubstep for that, even if it can get pretty mean. It's a demon level, being mean is a bit more justified now. Also, it has Clubstep monsters, so it can't not be an immediate 10 out of 10. Oh god, the next level is Electrodynamix. I still don't have all the orbs on this one because I beat it back in 1.9 and then never touched it again. The level's not bad, I just never want to replay it for some reason. It's not fun, and I don't know why. But here's what I do know, and you'll never believe it. But this level is all about speed.
Wait. Oh, he's talking about Electrodynamix. I thought he was talking about Toe2, and I was about to be like, my goat.
It starts extremely easy, but you're immediately
I liked Electrodynamix. I thought it was fine. I definitely prefer Hexagon Force, but I liked Electrodynamix.
slammed with a 2x speed portal, and by god, you better learn how far you can jump with it. The increased speed continues into the ship, and this really precise UFO section, which is one heck of a difficulty.
Yeah, Electrodynamix is a really fun one to go back and play, in my opinion. Yeah, I feel like I would love to go back and try this one out.
Spike, but still manageable. Hopefully you're comfortable with the speed, because now it gets even faster.
Yeah, I love Hexagon Force. God, I love that level. That was my favorite for a long time, till Deadlocked dethroned it. Or alternatively,
Despite the fast speed, it stays pretty readable, and the ship sections are mostly just going up and down. And that's about it. I feel like Electrodynamix is definitely the hardest of all the insane-rated levels. Like, when you compare it to the difficulty of Electroman Adventures and Fingerdash, it feels more like an easy demon than a hard insane. But also, this guy did it blindfolded, so who am I to make that call? So final thoughts, the level's built around speed portals, explores them quite nicely, and doesn't have any overly gimmicky moments. But there's one part of it that bothers me to no end. It's these invisible spikes at the very start.
I do it. Yeah, this part is... That's base, bro. This part sucks. Like, when I first played this level, I was so inconsistent on this part. I just couldn't get it because it's weird. This part is weird. The blindfolded guy was exposed. Oh, I guess this was 3 years ago. Damn, stolen valor. Well, okay. I hope that bad things happen to him. Sorry. I hope he learned his lesson.
They do the same thing as Clubstep, where it's really hard to tell which ones are real, and overall it just feels really out of place in
Why cheat for attention? No, we can't go down this path again.
this level. Clubstep built the entire level around this gimmick, whereas here in Electrodynamix it's just used in 1 or 2 quick parts, and it comes off as this really annoying way to try to pump up the difficulty a little bit. What especially bothers me is that it's one of the first obstacles following the speed portal, which means that the player is still trying to adjust to this new mechanic, and then suddenly they're hit with these unnecessarily annoying fake spikes.
Agreed.
Maybe there's someone out there who likes them, but I personally feel like they don't add anything meaningful to this level. Good thing Hexagon Force would never do us that dirty. This level introduces one of the most
Now tread lightly, Cologne, because I love this level. My first tattoo that I have on this shoulder is one of Hexagon Force. You'll never see it, and you'll never know if it's a bit or not. It is a bit. I'm sorry. I don't like lying to people, but it was a kind of funny bit, right? It was kind of funny to think for a second that I have a Hexagon Force tattoo. Like of the asymmetrical duel, imagine. Shirtless Teej stream? Keep dreaming, pal.
most revolutionary mechanics in the game. Slopes. I know this is a little bit controversial, but the
slopes are low-key annoying.
Physics feel pretty natural, so you shouldn't have too much trouble learning how they work. But at the very least, you are going to have to get used to jumping off of them. Once you get the hang of that, it's time for the dual portal. Honestly, dual is presented in a way which is pretty easy to understand, so with a little bit of practice, everything should immediately click. There's an infamous—
Dude, like, there are few greater moments as a newer Geometry Dash player than, like, getting this dual part, the feel of it when you finally get it, bro. Hook me up to that machine and let me keep on taking it.
Set of jumps before the ship portal, but it draws some attention to what makes dual mode unique, so I'll let it slide. The dual flying sections are all symmetrical, so no problems there. There's this little fun section that's just back-to-back orbs, but I wouldn't call it gimmicky since it doesn't revolve around any new or unusual mechanics. It's just a bit of a meme
And it actually marks its fakes. W levels that actually mark their fake orbs.
part. The dual ball looks hard at first, but in reality you're
Dude, this part's so fun once you get
only
it.
in control of one ball at a time. I kinda like this ship part since hitting the walls cause you to get tripped up by the slopes instead of insta-killing you. It reminds me a lot of what Xstep did with the blue pads. Finally, the level ends with the introduction of the slow speed portal, but I don't see how this could possibly cause any issues. All in all,
Dude, nerve control. That's like, I love it. I love like the slow ship, dude. Oh man, that was one of my favorite like 90% plus runs on an early Rob top level. It's like, okay, the ship's super slow. If you mess up, it's on you, pal. I love it.
very fun level. It's centered around slopes and the dual portal for the whole way through, and doesn't do anything overly stupid or annoying. And don't even get me started on the speedrun strats for this level. Next up is blast processing. The blocks are
You can just drop through the bottom and ride the floor? Like you're a piece of meat in a factory that fell?
3D now, and the GD community is reaching its absolute peak. If that's not hype, then I don't know what is. Oh, and also, this level introduces the wave. It's this weird new diagonal game
It's a frame perfect? My frame perfect.
mode, and I highly doubt it's going to catch on. This is the first new game mode since Theory of Everything, and like usual, you're given an open area with more than enough time to figure out how it works and react accordingly.
Oh, is this the first wave?
The section is really wide, so it should be easy at your current skill level. It teaches you everything you need to know about the game mode,
I love wave.
though you might have to learn the hard way that walls kill you. There's a dual wave section
That's what I'm saying. And that goes back to my earlier point. Like, boundaries are usually supposed to kill you. Why sometimes you can ride floor, sometimes floor hurt?
later down, but it's completely symmetrical, so it should be pretty easy to deal with. Overall, blast processing is an extremely fun and replayable level, but aside from the wave and some new decorations, it really doesn't bring that much else to the table. There's no
I love GD wave. Dap me up. Any wave enjoyer gets a dap.
speed portals, and it's the only level to not use mini portals after their introduction. The most gimmicky part I can think of is this bit at the very end with the fake blocks, but it's super
I don't like these fake block memory parts, bro. Like, they're fine. They're like a 6 out of 10 in terms of like common motifs or gimmicks and levels. They're fine. I don't like hate them, but I'm like, ugh, okay, again.
easy and doesn't at all feel like the level needs to revolve around it. So, you're probably good at the game now, right? Well, screw you, here's another demon level. It's Theory of
I don't like Toe 2. It's fine if you do. I don't like Toe 2. It is one of my least favorite Rob Top levels.
Everything, except it's way harder
You can say mad cause bad, and you'd be right.
and also not Theory of Everything at all. And also, we misplaced this background
It just doesn't feel good to play. I like levels that feel good to play. Levels can be difficult, but they need to feel good to play them. This level didn't feel good for me to play.
now because we hate you. There's definitely some interesting parts in this level, so
My opinion.
let's talk about it. Like, remember invisible blocks? Well, if you don't, this first ship part will definitely fix that.
I'm so happy that some of you enjoy Toe 2 because I disliked it so much that someone has to enjoy it because it is a level that exists. It deserves its flowers. I had a bad time playing it.
Much like Clubstep, there's going to be a lot of them, but this time they're used in very different ways. For example, this part is quite similar to the end of blast processing, except now there's no way to tell which blocks are real unless you catch a quick glimpse of them before they fade away. Which again,
Here, so everybody in the future also who's watching this video on YouTube and Spotify knows, here's a heart. For all the Toe 2 enjoyers, here you go. I'm not trying to start a flame war. There's a heart.
for
Just
a
sharing
demon
my
level,
opinion.
is fair enough. It's not like you have to memorize any weird new mechanics, it's just building on what you're familiar with. Following that is another ship part made of invisible blocks, which ties in nicely with the first one and helps the level feel more themed and connected. We also finally get to witness the return of breakable blocks, and unlike Electroman adventures, they actually serve a purpose now. They're used as a way to hide which wall is real and which wall is fake. The level would have been perfectly fine without them, but I can't really argue with how they were used considering they were in fact already taught back in Electroman adventures. If this were their first appearance, that would have been a whole other problem. This ball part throws some more fake blocks at you, but this time they're everywhere, and also you're at double speed. Again,
Yeah, I mean, you just have to go into practice mode for that, yeah?
reusing this gimmick definitely helps the level feel more connected, but also I just don't know how I feel about this part. You have to let it become muscle memory, and
What did I just say? I used few words, Cologne used big words, many.
because of that, I'm not the biggest fan of it. You can
You know what? You and me would get along,
actually
Cologne.
tell which blocks are real and fake based on your player colors, so I feel like the difficulty of this section sorta depends on which colors you're using, which is weird. Either way, this part isn't much of a run killer, so you'll be fine. From there, there's another invisible part, an extremely infamous ship section, a coin that's way too easy to get, and a short bit introducing the mini wave, which you should be able to handle without any problems. By the way, I wonder what this thing is foreshadowing. Welcome to
That looks like a fish. Oh, it's one of these guys, probably.
Update 2.0. This next song is really special because it was made specifically for the game. Even the name of it was top secret, and all we got was this
Wait, are we going through all the... Oh. Is it okay that if we're 20 minutes into this 34-minute video and I just realized that the whole thing of this video is going through every Rob top level and explaining it? Don't get angry.
Vague hint. I remember a lot of people theorizing that it was geometrical dimension, but I was more of a grasshopper destroyer guy.
Based.
Still would have been better. There's a lot to unpack in this level, and 2.0 marks a significant influx in gimmicks.
I have brain rot. I thought that like maybe he was going to do this for a bit and then the video was going to become something else. I didn't read the chapters. I didn't realize, but now I understand.
Not mechanics, gimmicks. But we'll get to that later. For now, we got moving objects and—
Which, to be fair, I was technically right, because I'm looking at these chapters and it looks like he starts talking about other stuff other than like the main release levels near the end.
The first robot part doesn't handhold you nearly as much as the other game mode introductions, but it's easy enough to learn and you even get some words of encouragement.
Yeah, when we get into these later levels, I'm just not as crazy about them. I know that I've heard that Geometrical Dominator gets a lot of like kind of unwarranted hate. I don't hate it. It just like...
Encouragement. It's worth noting that these new moving objects aren't a gimmick on their own, but rather are used to make them. For example, in the ship part, the path opens up in front of you, and there's also this little elevator. It's not too bad, and it gets you used to the mechanic, but this next part, well...
Except Deadlocked? Exactly.
Well, you have pretty much no time to react, and you have to memorize where to fall and when to jump. There are arrows, but not enough time to process them. This
Okay, so when he talks about Dash, it's before Dash was released, duly noted.
part doesn't sit well with me, and I can tell it's only there to go, hey look, there's moving.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Geometrical Dominator is that bad, and I know that a lot of people in the community, like or at least I have heard anecdotally, some people really hate on it. It's not bad. It's just also not like, if someone was like, TJ, you only have time to play one Geometry Dash level before the world explodes, I'd be like, okay, well, it's definitely not Geometrical Dominator, but could you give me like 5 seconds to think about it?
Moving objects now, look how cool they are! On the bright side, the level gets really fun after that, and the new visuals are gorgeous. Wait, why is it turning gray? Enter the infamous Geometrical Dominator memory part.
By the way, for anybody who wasn't here, and I think a lot of you weren't, I fluked the memory section the first time I got to it in a run. I fluked it. I practiced it. The first time I reached it in the run, I beat it, and then I beat the rest of the level.
Where the boys become men. This bit confuses me because when a level is a gimmick,
Go back, watch the VOD. Halab remembers, SKW Slice remembers. Yes, some of you here, you remember. It was a sick moment.
it's usually there to show off a new feature that was added. But in this case, it's hard to pinpoint what that would be. 1,000 color channels, the alpha trigger, and it sort of dawned on me that it's not trying to show a single thing off.
The memory section made me want to shoot Rob Top. Do not get it twisted. If I had not fluked it in like the first run I had with it, I would also have horrible, horrible memories and associations with this part. Because when I was practicing it, it frustrated the hell out of me. I am so thankful to the Geometry Dash gods that I fluked it.
I think it's just a handful of 2.0 features put together in a way that'll challenge people. And honestly, this part isn't hard as much as it's controversial. I think it's a fine challenge for a later level, and it's long enough that it feels like a good chunk of it and not a quick gimmick to show off some new thing. So you know what, I'm fine with it. I'll admit that the obstacles could have been telegraphed better, but I can rest well knowing that it probably doesn't exist.
That's the most frustrating part. Like, and I feel that way about games. Like the most frustrating, like Dark Souls memories, for instance, are the ones that don't really telegraph their attacks. The most annoying Expedition 33 enemies are the ones that don't really like, I do think that telegraphing is an important fairness mechanic to games. Like it can't just be like, and now you just got hit. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's not compelling as a player.
It's just to show off a dumb new 2.0 feature. So now that we're past that part, this is where the complaining really begins. If you're not here for opinions, this is probably a good time to click off. And remember, I'm happy with these levels and don't want to see them change, but there's certain parts that I want to criticize from a game design standpoint.
Wow, that's a very fair and level-headed opinion that you just very sufficiently had a preamble about why I shouldn't get angry about it. The second you say something I disagree with, I should definitely hop into the YouTube comments and tell you how you're wrong. Funny 'cause opposite. Thank you, GD Cologne, for being able to add nuanced discussions without trying to get people angry.
Give it as advice for if you ever build a level or maybe even make your own game.
And that's what I'm realizing, chat. I realize a lot of commenters online, they simply don't hear people out. Simply like, they will either mishear or misremember something. I'm realizing a lot of people, sometimes they'll just watch like the first 2 minutes of a video, you say something that they disagree with, and then they're just like, actually, you're stupid about that. And then it takes another commenter who's just like, hey, just so you know, they refuted the argument you made literally 10 seconds after the part you stopped watching. And they're just still like, no, I'm right. It's like, I'm realizing how stupid a lot of people are.
Starting with this UFO section, we have to collect these little diamonds. After this part, you never see them again. This is a much better example of a gimmick that makes me think, why? I get that it's a way of showing off a new feature in the update, but it's a...
I don't even remember this. This kind of reminds me of the Celeste little things, the keys.
essentially introducing a new
More ignorant than stupid, for sure.
game mechanic that's used for 3 seconds and then never touched again.
Most are looking for confirmation bias. That's a good way to put it. I keep forgetting that. Some people are very firmly in their opinions, and the second they hear something that they think is challenging that opinion, their fragile ego feels threatened and they lash out. They don't really want to hear people out. They just want to protect the opinion they have, which I think is bad.
The part isn't hard, in fact it's super obvious what you have to do, but why bother at all if there's only going to be 2 of these in the entire game? There's another one in this ball part, but now it's repurposed to spawn a platform that follows you. And this one makes even...
They look cosmetically, Jay, like dash crystals. I was thinking more of like the way keys trigger events in the level. But yes, they look cosmetically like dash crystals.
less sense because the diamond isn't even out of the way anymore. The way I see it, this could have just been plain ground and the level wouldn't have been any worse. And what bothers me even more is that this platform in the last robot part follows you without even needing to collect anything. So this whole diamond gimmick was established for nothing. Why is this one in the ball part any different? Why was this specific platform chosen to move anyways? There's not even any indication for it. It looks like
I don't feel that deep about it, but I do think that like the mechanics that he's talking about in this part, they just feel weird. They don't feel like Geometry Dash. They feel just kind of like a phantom arm. It does feel off.
every other one. I swear to God, if I go crazy when I'm older, this is why. Like I said before, these parts aren't bad. In fact, I'd say they're kind of fun and creative once you get to know them. But it marks a very specific point in the game where the levels are no longer built around a specific idea, but are now just a mix of random 3 to 4 second microgames that introduce
Absolutely. It doesn't feel cohesive. It feels like stuff.
something new and then
Don't get angry. I'm just agreeing with GD Cologne.
and never touch them again. If you're gonna introduce something new, then stick with it. Build the level around it. Otherwise, it's just another thing to learn and get confused by. Like seriously, what was the thought process behind this specific moving platform?
Dude, he hates that platform, bro. Oh, GD Cologne has one enemy left alive. It's that platform in frickin' Geometrical Dominator, dude.
What does it add to the level that normal ground can't? Is being unpredictable supposed to be a game mechanic now? I wish I could tell you, but let's see how a demon level uses the new 2.0 stuff. Deadlocked is a hard level, so I'll obviously cut it some slack, but
Oh, you better be careful. Tread lightly, GD Cologne. I love Deadlocked.
otherwise you know the drill. Let's run through it and pick apart the details. The level starts by introducing the green orb and the teleport portal, both in their simplest form. What this means is that the first time they're used is in really basic and easy to understand ways, which is extremely helpful for getting to know how they work. I love that even demon levels have some thought put into how they introduce new mechanics. The first ship part has these square guys moving back and forth in a very world's hardest game-ish pattern. It's perfectly fair, but takes some memorization.
It's so funny. I made the same observation. I don't know if I said it out loud on stream, but yes, that's a very good approximation.
I really wish they appeared more throughout the level, kind of like Clubstep monsters, so that's definitely a missed opportunity. This ball part introduces a weird gimmick where you
see
can't
that.
touch the red platforms, and it even comes with a little diagram to communicate this. I have to say, the execution for this part is really good. It introduces a new idea, then plays around with it.
That being said, honestly, I hadn't thought about this. It is weird, though. I love Deadlocked. This part is weird.
But why? Remember
Yeah, no, I definitely see that.
when I said that the levels are starting to feel more like short little microgame collections? This is what I mean, because after
Wait, chat, isn't this crazy? I'm hearing a different opinion, and I'm like, oh, I see where you're coming from. Y'all should try it sometime. It's kind of nice.
this part, there's no more evil red platforms.
I'm not going like, no, Cologne, you're wrong. This is my favorite level. This is my favorite level. You can't say anything about it. You can't say anything about my favorite level. Because if you say something bad about my favorite level, you're saying something bad about me, man. Don't do that. Why are you doing to say it? Don't.
Already, Deadlocked is trying to be way
Volume warning, opinion warning. My God.
too many different things at once, and it lacks a single theme that connects the whole thing together. Like, after this, there's a cannon for some reason. It's a fun little one-off idea, but the speed portal being invisible makes it feel more like it's trying to be introduced as a mechanic rather than something silly. Also, I swear to God, we really need to talk about this mini ball part,
Do we? It's awesome.
because there's nothing wrong with it. I just really like it and wanted to mention
Haha, you baited.
that. Very nice usage of teleport portals, 10 out of 10. This next bit introduces putting blue orbs on the ground. It should be obvious how it works, but once again, it's an idea that's never used again. It's not like it has to be, but I would have loved to see more of it. I definitely have.
It's a really good point. Honestly, like all the points he's making are very astute. There are random things in Deadlocked that are just kind of deadlocked things. And for some reason, that annoys me about some levels. And for some reason with Deadlocked, I'm just like, yeah, you get the permission slip. Yeah.
Some strong feelings on the ship part, but I'm a little nervous to say them out loud because I don't want to hurt RobTop's feelings. What the hell is going on with these teleport portals? And the back and forth gravity changes definitely
No, this part's also crazy. I give him that. This part's also crazy.
don't help. But you know what? It's a creative way to explore the teleport portals some more. It's a demon level, and Clubstep did way worse, so this'll get a pass from me. But I just don't like the completely blind changes to gravity and size. That needs to be memorized and there's no way around it. Like, the portal is literally invisible. Anyways, the boss fight after that is cool.
That part's also just hard to sight read. Like, I remember the first time I got to that part in Deadlocked, I was like, why are there so many of them? Why are there so many of them?
It doesn't rely on any weird new mechanics, and it definitely feels like the climax of the level. After that is an intense wave part, which is honestly really well done. The ship part, on the other hand, can go fuck itself.
Fair and valid.
This is all memory with no visual indication in the slightest, and it's way harder to memorize than anything else you've done so far. Moving platforms are back for this ball part, and the addition of the ones on top make it feel a lot more welcome than the pointless one in Geometrical Dominator.
He's still on it, bro. He hates that shit, bro.
The UFO part after it is kind of memory focused, but in the same way that the first ship part is.
I love it, bro. I love people who are passionate about what they like about stuff and what they don't like about stuff and how they are able to succinctly put it into words so others may understand and learn from it.
So it's fine, but I just don't like it and want an excuse to say it out loud.
Can I like the video anymore? Boop, 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 boop. Bop, bop, beep, bop.
And that's it for Deadlocked. Definitely one of the levels of all time. Wait, who's that?
Yo! I also appreciate that the knocking sound effect he added was not one of those fake ones that makes you think that someone is actually knocking in your room. I appreciate that it was specifically fake, because what video did we recently react to? We recently reacted to one where like the knock, it scared me.
Okay, who doesn't love Fingerdash? This level is especially important when it comes to making sure
Who doesn't love Fingerdash? I don't really remember it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
mechanics are understandable, because I see a lot of people who play the first few levels and then
Oh, this was the spider level. Yeah, I liked it.
skip right to it. And in a lot of cases, it actually goes pretty well. Like 8-Bit Ryan beat the first 7 levels, then finished Fingerdash before Time Machine. Why this is rated insane, I have no idea. The level introduces the black orb, and for an orb that creators suck at using, it's used really nicely in this level.
I don't think it was the Math Genius vid. I don't think it was.
There's also the dash orb, which couldn't be taught in a better
It's been a few videos now. It may have even been Vernosis' video. I can't
way.
remember.
The red jump pad, which you have no choice but to hit, the purple dash orb, which is also very predictable, and of course, the spider, which opens with a section that looks
Dude, and again, I've said it before, Spider is an underrated game mode in my opinion. It's probably one of my favorite next to Wave.
a lot like a ball part, and after one click, you should immediately get how it works. If you think you're comfortable with it, you can also try and go for this really good coin. Oh, and this level also introduces gravity portals that stop dash orbs. I sure hope this idea catches on. There's rotating fire bars in the ship part, which can't really be considered gimmicky since there's not much extra stuff to learn. The robot part introduces the red orb, which
Oh yeah, this part, okay, this level was cool.
flows nicely, so it barely even matters if you don't understand exactly how it works. The wave part has these mini coins to collect, but that's a topic for another video. And it's smooth sailing after that. Despite all the potential that there would have been for gimmicks, this level shows self-control and just gives you a nice classic GD experience. And it looks super awesome too. I think there's a reason this level's so universally.
The world is a cruel and unjust place. There is no harmony in this universe. The only constant is suffering. Some depressed people in my chat. Minutes later. Oh my god, Fingerdash! I mean, that is the one thing that unites us as Geometry Dash players, right? It's fun to look at the colorful game instead of
Loved. Well, that's all the levels in the game. I'm not going to cover the spin-off games because they more or less introduce mechanics in the same way, but feel free to take what you've learned from this video and use it to overanalyze them. So, 21 levels and 7,000 words later.
Okay, so now we're at like the official different part. This is going to be probably not speculative, but more like fun word thoughts.
It's time to revisit the initial question. What the hell is going on with the 2.2 levels? It's worth noting that these levels are unfinished and subject to change, and I'm also going off of a video instead of playing them for myself. But let's dive in anyways. The first 2.2 level has a difficulty of insane and doesn't have a name yet, but the current placeholder is Dash. It's a little weird seeing that directly after Fingerdash, but this is coming from someone who named their channel Colon. Anyways, it starts by introducing some.
Why'd he do that? Does anybody know? I'm not trying to hate, but it's... He felt like it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Camera movements and effects. For some reason your icon changes color during the spider part because I don't even know, why not show that off? After that is another spider part where now you're just
it's the punctuation? Okay.
Casually moving sideways and up the walls. I still have no idea how this part works and this level is—
This part, high key cheeks, bro. High key cheeks.
Isn't even demon. You have less than half a second to even react to this. It's such a huge new feature. Why is it introduced so casually like it's always been there? Think of something like Dryout, which had this whole build-up leading to the first gravity portal, and then you're slowly eased into being upside down. This level introduces going sideways, but it doesn't actually introduce it. It just throws you right into it and assumes that you already know how it works. Already, this goes against all the design philosophy that GD was clinking onto, just for a 2-second long section made solely to show off a new feature. And early leaks of the level show that it was originally a normal spider part, but it was eventually changed to this. Afterwards, a potion shrinks you down to mini, and you have to hit these blocks on the ceiling because suddenly that doesn't kill you anymore, and you'll die if you don't because screw you. Oh, and this green stuff makes you stick to the ceiling.
All of this stuff, like I know someone in chat said that only like the sneak peek of Dash was revealed. I think it was like the first 40 or 44% or whatever. Let me share my opinion as someone who has played Dash and is on the other side of this video that was released 3 years ago. I didn't like Dash. But if you do, that's okay. It was a lot.
Ceiling.
It did feel like a showcase of a lot of random, to what we've already talked about in this video, is a showcase of a lot of random little bits and bobs. As a level, I was like, I'm good on this.
I don't even know. Look, this part just makes me sad because not only does it try to introduce so many pointless things, but now the game is actively going against things it's already established. You were taught that mini portals shrink you down, but now it's been replaced with a potion. And you should know that hitting a roof kills you, but suddenly that's not a thing anymore. Everything you thought you knew about the game is suddenly becoming a lie. And for what? Like, what is this bringing to the table that the existing and already established features can't? Anyways, on a brighter note, the swing section is fine. It's straightforward, and you don't really need to be babied with new game modes anymore. It's open enough that if you survived up to this point,
swing kind of confusing.
You'll learn it very easily. After that, the screen rotates.
Oh no, it's kind of hard, man.
And god damn it, this should have been the introduction to going on walls. I still don't know what the hell is going on with that awful
He's so angry.
Spider part, but this is the perfect spot to reveal the twist. It goes—
That is true. That's a good point.
With the music, and it's super readable too. That's all we get to see for this level, and I know I'm getting a bit aggressive, but do you see my point? 2.2 has been in development for almost 6 years, and now seemingly every new feature is trying to be crammed into a 90-second level. It just doesn't work. I feel like there needs to be some tutorial levels to teach all the weird new stuff before you're ready to jump into this one. I assume maybe you'd have to play some levels from the map.
Dude, I never even put together that the stuff with like the green on it was like sticky ceilings and stuff. I genuinely thought that was just like some cosmetic thing.
At first, whatever those could be, but I'm starting to doubt it. An old leak revealed a dialogue box saying that only the Demon Guardian could unlock this level, so it's possible that the level could be locked behind that. But more realistically, it's probably for the second level, Explorers. Explorers is going to be the 4th demon level in the game, and unlike the previous 3, the difficulty in this one—
This is the one that got delayed, right, chat?
Doesn't come from the technical gameplay.
And as of 3 years later, we still have not seen this level.
It comes from pure insanity.
Or it's not been released.
We start with an introduction to the spider orb that teleports you to the ground when you hit it. But by the looks of it, hitting it too early will drop you into the spikes, so it's not the safest introduction, but otherwise it's bearable. The sticky ceilings from the previous level are back, so I guess that's a mechanic now. But what I'm less thrilled about is this invisible transition to mini here, because we went from a portal to a potion to screw it, we don't need visuals at all. My brother in Christ, you established the mechanic. Oh, and there's a teleport orb too now? I mean, sure you can react to this, but this is already starting to feel a bit overwhelming. Next, there's some invisible gravity changes, and I don't know—
I just think Rob Top should add the debug map instead. I know that this is like the 20 billionth time I brought it up, but what if instead of new main levels, let's let all the online level creators who create things that are beyond our human comprehension, let's let them cook. And maybe let's add the debug map so people can practice whatever part of a level they want at the click of a button to the game, where the game is all about learning stuff and being able to beat the stuff that we just learned.
If only there was some established way to telegraph that. Once again, the level is literally neglecting so many existing mechanics. You've been taught since Dryout that these portals switch your gravity. That's how the game is supposed to work, so stick with it! Now there's some pipes, which are done in a very confusing way, because by looking at them, you'd think you could just dash
This whole level just kind of looks crazy, man.
forward and skip them. Like seriously, why can't you? I'm guessing something will stop you, but why not make it more clear? Also, you have to hit these custom orbs to activate the pipes, but this whole part is just another one-off gimmick that you never see again, so it barely even matters. Oh, and did you notice how little the level syncs with the music so far? Yeah, that whole concept was kind of neglected in this level. That takes us to this single screen area, which is an idea I really like, but it has the worst execution I've ever seen. You have no idea what you're going to become next, or what the gravity or speed will be, or where you're going to come out of. Like,
this was kind of like the one part in Dash where you're going around, you know what I'm talking about? Where you're like going around in the circle and it's counting down from 3, 2, 1. That was kind of the most memorable part of that level for me. I think there's something to it, but yeah, it needs to be a little more readable like that. Yeah, the drop.
yeah, okay, here's a sideways MIDI
I do agree, like, if you do something like that, it needs to be readable
wave with zero time
and predictable.
to react. So far, the only reason this level is Demon is because of how unpredictable it is. Next up is another single screen section, which is good because once again, it helps the level feel more connected. Seeing something more than once makes it feel like less of a one-off gimmick and more like an overarching theme for the level. This section is cool, but it needs to be more clear what the custom orbs do, and especially when the gravity is going to switch, because right now it seems like you just have to know that. After that is the drop, which looks cool as hell, but sadly we don't get to see it. That is, until the level inevitably gets leaked, which, knowing RobTop, I'll give it a month or two. So, those are the 2.2 levels. I really wanted to be open-minded about them because there's lots of genuinely cool ideas.
Did it get leaked? A month or two as of 3 years ago? I'll be honest, bro. I don't care. I'm in the phase now where I'm just kind of playing online levels. If people care about this main level that's eventually going to be released, that's fine. It's just, and I get that part of the responsibility that RobTop has as the creator, as he introduces new mechanics, he needs to release new levels that showcase the mechanics so that even casual players can understand that this is a mechanic that exists. But I'm just good on that.
Simply put, the ideas are great, but the execution
No, but some people made it into a full level.
isn't. When I rewatch these two sneak peeks, I walk away thinking of the 6 most disappointing words known to man. It feels like a custom level. Custom levels have no constraints. They're free to do whatever the hell they want, whether it's for better or for worse. But what I worry about is the base game that most people will spend their time with. Because while Geometry Dash feels more like a platform nowadays, it still is a game at its core. And in my opinion, that game should be good. It should be fair. I don't dislike these new levels because they're hard to read. It's because they're information overload. They try to show off too many new things in such a short amount of time, without giving you any chance to adjust or be eased into it. 2.2 adds so many new things, and because of that, these levels can't decide on what they want to be. So they just resort to everything. And worst of all the mechanics you
No, yeah, I agree. I don't have much to say on this part of the video because honestly, I just don't care about these newer levels. And two, I think we already hit the nail on the head and the video already hit the nail on the head, like way back at this part. It's like, yeah, it's just too much. There's not much else to say. We already hit the nail on the head. It's too much crammed into one level.
thought you
So now I'm tie-tie and I'm ready for bed.
knew, gravity portals, mirror portals, mini portals, that's all gone too. Because now the level will just do whatever it wants, regardless of how you thought things worked. Everything is being repurposed for the sake of some gimmicks, and there's nothing to hold on to anymore. In the earlier levels, what you see ahead is exactly what you get. But now, the level is constantly shifting before your eyes, and you have no idea what half the things even are. If you play a lot of custom levels, all this stuff probably feels fine, because you're so used to the community coming up with their own gimmicks to help their levels stand out among the sea of 80 million levels. But the official levels have always felt different for me. They're supposed to represent what normal vanilla Geometry Dash is at its core, but I don't see that with the 2.2 levels. At least, not yet. Maybe I'll end up liking them. Maybe they'll be tweaked from what we initially saw. But for now, when I look at how the existing 21 levels tackle new mechanics and ideas and gimmicks, these levels just don't feel like the Geometry Dash I know. Okay, I think I've went on for way too long, so that's gonna be it for this video. I'd love to spark some more discussion over this in the comments, so if you're still watching, don't hesitate to let me know what you think. There's no correct opinion here, and if you're excited for the new levels, then you don't have to let me take that away from you. Thanks for watching, please do subscribe if you found this kind of stuff interesting, and I promise I'll make that coin tier list eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like, first of all, WGD Cologne. I'm glad that I got to watch one of his videos for the first time. Obviously, go subscribe and like. Yeah, I think that for most players, I would recommend playing through all the main levels basically to Deadlocked. Maybe skip some of the newer ones. I mean, when I played it, my chat even recommended that, like, or wait, I went in difficulty order. But honestly, I don't know. I think that, like, I think the regular progression for a Geometry Dash player is you play the main levels to get good at the game, but then, like, you can kind of get into online levels and never look back. That's why for me, I get, as someone who is holistically, like, super into Geometry Dash and passionate about Geometry Dash, that you would care more about, like, the new main levels that are coming out. I guess for me as a player, now that I'm on the other side of it, it's like I genuinely wouldn't care if another main level was ever released. That's why it's hard for me to form any opinions on, like, this level Explorers, because I genuinely do not care about it. Like, if that level came out and it was the best thing ever, I'd be like, cool. If it came out and the whole community was up in arms about it, I'd be like, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to care when it feels like the natural progression for a player is to play all these super beloved levels, and then the rest of them kind of become increasingly more forgettable and increasingly more ham-fisted with the features that they try to add, is my opinion. So, like, I don't know. Like, will I probably play Explorers when it comes out? Maybe, because of the novelty of it. But it's hard for me to care as both a player and a content creator when it's just like, all of us as Geometry Dash players know the most appealing thing about playing this game is trying out new online levels, you know? So it's kind of hard to have this conversation about, like, yeah, the main levels are kind of not really capturing what they once captured, when it's like the rest of us are kind of more focused and moving on to this other thing. Which I'm not saying that GD Cologne is misrepresenting that. Like, I'm actually very impressed with his passion, and I'm very excited and invigorated by all the great points he makes. I'm simply stating, from my point of view, if the main levels became complete poop, I'd be fine. And I would just keep on playing the cool online levels that the cool creators keep making. Make sense? Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you, GD Cologne, because of the emoji and not because of the thing that we all have inside of us. Did you like that? Don't even pretend like you didn't. You made it that far in the video. Well, did you know that I stream Monday through Friday on Twitch and YouTube, and you could catch me live and get to be a part of the experience when it happens? Also, if you don't care about that, or otherwise you want to see more of the video that you just watched, link in the description to watch the full VOD. Do that, please. I have a black eye because I play basketball sometimes. Bye. Oh,